Welcome to Chew the Fat. I am your host, Smooth, and today we're going to discuss the Will Smith and Chris Rock debacle. Once again, he finally addressed the slap. He addressed many other things, Meghan Markle, Democrats, Republicans, his children, and how they're spoiled, a whole lot of things. But we're going to jump right into the situation where we have the full video here. Well, at least the full segment of what we're going to discuss today, which is him responding to the Will Smith slap. So let's go ahead and get to that part right now. Like to hear it, here it goes. And before we jump right in, I want you to understand that, yes, it has been disguised just a bit. I don't want this to get taken down. You already know what it is. So I've modified it, which I feel like is just enough for you to still be able to understand it, get the idea, and not get taken down. Let's try it.
Getting smacked by Shook Smith. The people like, did it hurt? It still hurts. I got summertime ringing in my ears. I know you can't tell on camera. Will Smith is significantly bigger than me. We're not the same size.
He's got a valid point there. Chris Rock is a little dude, man, for real, for real. And Will Smith, I'd say he's in the range of about 200 pounds, man. He's taller, he's bigger. It wouldn't have been a fair fight. At least Chris Rock didn't act like he was a tough guy. So, I mean, so far, so good. I'm not going to knock him on that.
Will Smith played Muhammad Ali in a movie. You think I auditioned for that part? He played Muhammad Ali. I played Pookie in New Jack City. Will Smith practices selective outrage. Will Smith and his wife was f***ing her son's friend.
Now, I do want to hear what you guys' thoughts are on selective outrage. So there's plenty of times where people will act like they're very angry at one particular subject and something very similar will go by, but because it doesn't fit the narrative that they like and it's not what it is that they stand for, then a very similar situation would just fly right under the radar and you won't hear anything about it. So that's what he's referring to right here. We're going to keep going.
Okay? Now, I normally would not talk about this but for some reason these niggas put that on the internet. I have no idea why two talented people would do something that low down. What the f***? We all been cheated on. Everybody in here has been cheated on. None of us have ever been interviewed by the person that cheated on us on television.
He makes a valid point there. Very valid point. There's no way that normal people would go through that type of a situation. That you want to keep behind closed doors. Family matters in general, you want to keep behind closed doors. There's no circumstance where you would want to embarrass yourself so much that you would expose those type of details, like you getting cheated on and just going through it. That's just so awkward. Watching that red table with Jada Pinkket Smith and Will Smith was cringe as it gets. I felt bad for him. It was really bad. It was really bad. Just an awful watch. I couldn't believe it. People made a lot of fun of it and everything, made light of it. Of course, when you put yourself out in the public, it is what it is. It's fair game. And if you were to ask me, I would say he only did that to appease Jada Pinkett Smith because her entire existence as of late is pretty much always at the expense of her husband, Will Smith. If she wasn't married to Will Smith, he would never, ever, ever, you wouldn't hear anything about her at all. Never. You'd never hear anything about her. She would have faded off into the sunset, and that's that. And he has, for most of their marriage, from what I can see, tried to live up to the men who she was with, who left an imprint. She did her thing with many men, and at least one we know of, but maybe many, left an imprint that in her eyes and even the eyes of Will Smith, he will never be able to reach. Carry on.
None of us. They're like, hey, I was sucking somebody else's. How did that make you feel? Everybody in the world calls him a bitch. I tried to call the motherfucker and give him my condolences. He didn't pick up for me. Everybody called that.
Leave a comment down below if you think Chris Rock really tried to call Will Smith when that happened between Will Smith and his wife, Jada Pinkett Smith. Let me know if you think he really tried to call to offer his condolences. I want you to tell me if you think that really happened. Leave a comment down below.
Everybody called him a bitch. And who's he hit? Me. A nigga.
Yeah, exactly. He had a whole lot of people who he could have got at. But I don't think that. I think he just got caught in the crossfire. I think anybody who was up there at the time would have caught the wrath of Will Smith and him trying to prove his manhood once again to his ungrateful wife, Jada Pinkett Smith. That's what happened. Anybody would have caught. I don't care if it was The Rock up there. I think he would have slapped The Rock at that point and took a L if he had to. I don't think there was many people who Will Smith would not have slapped at that particular night, just because, in my opinion, I think he was full of passion and it wasn't anything stopping him. All he saw was red because he was constantly getting ridiculed, and I'm sure they have those talks in the dark. Jada Pinkett tell him, "You never defend me. You just gonna let this guy talk about me and yeah." I hype him up to go ahead and set him up for failure, man. That's what women will do to you. They don't think logically. They don't think of the backlash and everything else. He could have either looked pretty weak for not defending a joke, mind you, right? A joke. Or he could look like the ultimate butthole to everyone, get banished from the Oscars, risk all his movie deals, right? You know people are fickle, so they came back eventually, right? But he risked his career and left a permanent stain on him. So don't let women hype you up. They will set you up for failure. You make decisions based on your own merit. If you believe that you should set it off, and sometimes you have to. It is what it is. My personal opinion, this wasn't one of those situations. Carry on.
He know he could be. That is some bitch ass shit. Years ago, his wife said I should quit the Oscars. I shouldn't host because her man didn't get nominated for Emancipation. The biggest piece of shit ever. You should quit because Will didn't get nominated for Concussion. So did I do some jokes about it? Who gives a f? That's how it is. She starts it, I finish it, okay? That's what the f happened. Nobody's picking on this bitch. She started.
That right there now. We're going to jump back just a few seconds, just for it, because right there, that's where you cross the line. At this time, it's worse than any joke you just said. Like, for you to go there at that point, bro, and we got to back it up a couple of seconds for that, because y'all need to check that out again. That part right there, I don't know. That's a violation, and I think that might be worthy of a slap. Listen up.
Nobody's picking on this bitch. She started this shit. A lot of people go, Chris, how come you didn't do nothing back? How come you didn't do nothing back that night? Because I got...
Before we get into that, man, let me know in the comments down below what you would do if someone called your wife the B word. You let me know what it is that you would do at this point next time you see Chris Rock. At this point, I don't know if we could talk like how Will Smith wanted to talk to him at that point, especially with Jada Pinkett behind the scenes. She ain't hear none of this whole thing. She don't care about the story, none of that. All she gonna hear is, you gonna let him disrespect me? You heard what he just called me? You gonna let him disrespect me like that? You not gonna set it off? No pun intended. Carry on.
Parents. That's why. Because I was raised. Okay? I got parents. And you know what my parents taught me? Don't fight in front of white people.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And yes, sir. So I'm very curious to see what your thoughts are. Please let me know what your thoughts are down below in the comments. I'm just going to give you my take on it, as I kind of did throughout the video. I really feel like this is a horrible situation. Chris Rock kind of had to address it. He didn't just make the entire show about that. The show was probably about an hour and 10 minutes, and he took about the very last, as you saw when he dropped the mic, the very last 10 minutes to address that situation. So it's not like it was an onslaught of Will Smith, Jada Pinkett joke. The entire whole, it was probably about what, less than 20%, man. In all honesty, it was less. It was what was it, 100? No, it was about. I think it was about 70 minutes, and about 10 minutes. That's 1/7. That's not that deep. It's not that deep. But he said a lot within those 10 minutes. I can tell you that much. So it got wild. But I mean, listen, he could have went harder. He could have been more disrespectful. Because, that also left a permanent stain on Chris Rock's reputation as well, because he had people question his manhood. Well, Dad, you just gonna let him get that off? Like, this is what you do. You let people just play you like that? You gonna let him slap you like that? And, you really not only just checked his chin, but he tested his manhood. And that's disrespect. And one more thing that I want you guys to weigh in on is, do you think Will Smith is going to respond to this, or he's going to just take the high road, or respond peacefully and say, I understand why you would behave like this, Chris Rock? And do you think that Jada Pinkett Smith is going to be behind the response this time? Which there's no doubt in my mind she was behind his initial response. And as always, stay hungry, my friends. Never thirsty.
That ain't how I get down.